Hey guys, it's Alec Torelli, and welcome to Trello, the ultimate task management system for businesses and personal use. I'm not sponsored by Trello, but I just am fired up because I love this system so much that I'm inspired to make a video about it. It has increased my productivity immensely with me and my team and just allowed me to keep all of my stuff organized in a world where digital is so important and I'm always traveling back and forth. And this just allows me to have everything in one place, and it keeps me off of email, which is really the underlying win of Trello, is that you no longer need email for communication and things don't get lost. So I'm going to show you how to use Trello. When you log in, you're going to want to, after you update your profile and stuff like that here, which you could change under the profile tab, pretty self-explanatory, you're going to want to create a board. And creating a board is easy. You click create a board and you could say, a board for the name of your business name. So after you create a board, you can share it with a team if you already have an existing team. Otherwise, you just click create board. And you can choose a background for your board, which is the first thing I like to do. I'm a big believer in energy, like my environment when I work. So I would like to create a background that for me is quite inspiring to work on. I've been working on one of these. I don't want to spend too much time on the board background just because it's ultimately not that important. You can choose which one you like, but let's say you like this one. So now you have your background, and what you're going to want to do with your board is invite members of your team to it. So I could invite a member of my team here just by typing a name here of someone that's already on my team. Otherwise, you could just enter their email and they'll be invited to your board. So that's what you want to do. You want to get everyone whom you want to share this board with on your board. The next thing you want to do is create a list. And I like to have several lists that I find work really well for me on Trello. And they are 3-month goals. They are tasks and processes. These are things, this is like to-do list. This is like a generic to-do. So this is a general to-do list. Then I like to have a 2-week list, a one to do this week, to do today, and a blocked and a parking lot for ideas. So you can, without getting too into what each one of these boards is, it's pretty obvious. Let's go over a company goal that we have. Let's say your company goal is grow the business to 100 subscribers paying $10 per month. You want to make $1,000 per month. So you could put your 3-month goal here. And the first thing I would do is label it. You want to label this in a color. So this allows you to organize your tasks easily that are visible. If your second goal is sell 1,000 worth of merchandise, you would label this goal in blue. And now you have 2 clear goals that are your 3-month timeline, and you can easily understand what the tasks are that relate to these goals. So if you need to build a new website, now you understand that this goal has to do more with your green tasks. And if you want to, so you could label it green. If you want to find a t-shirt provider, you know that this task has to do with your blue goals, and so on and so forth. And this keeps things really well organized. So what I do is I label all the tasks in the to-do list. So you put all tasks here. It's only when you want to assign this task to take action on this task that you click and drag it over to one of these different categories. So you could put all these tasks in the 2-week list, and then you can move them over to do this week or to do today if it becomes important. So generally you want to store all your tasks into the general to-do list and move them only when you're ready to take action on them. Now the blocked tab is while you're working if something is blocked for a certain reason, meaning you can't do it because you're waiting on someone else, you can put it there. And the parking lot, this is your place for company ideas. So you can say open a new restaurant. Is something that is a goal or an idea that you want to explore, but it's not something you're going to take action on now. I like to have that in there because when ideas come, they come at random times. I like to be able to put them down in a certain place without them having them distract me from what I'm working on. So let's talk about how to organize your tasks once you have them and to get the most out of your working flow in Trello. So let's say you have a task here. You can do a lot of things with a given task. The first thing you want to know is the description. This is great if you are assigning a task to one of the members of your team, because you can add information about the website. So you can say, let's say that this was a task that you gave to someone on your team. So let's say this is a very, very specific task, like upload or SEO the video for YouTube. It's a very specific task, and you want to mark it as, it was marked as green. So now you're going to say, okay, I want to, instead of sending my employee an email, I can now use Trello to basically email them and ping them with the assignment, but keep the assignment autonomous. So in other words, I keep the conversation about the assignment on this thread. So look at each task like you would an email thread. And this is the subject matter. So here you can add details. So you can say, for this task, you're going to need to SEO the video titled XYZ, and be sure to update the description. You can say cross-check this. With Marco as well. So let's say you're assigning a task to employee A. You're assigning a task to Dragon. You could click here and assign it to him, but you could also assign it to, I have to invite the team member. You could also assign it to a second team member here by clicking them. Now 2 people will be assigned to this task within your team on Trello. So instead of CCing people on an email, you now have a task here. If someone from your team wants to respond, so this is adding the members sort of tags them in this thread. If someone from your team wants to respond, they can respond here and type your name. They could say, hey, Alec. They could type your name. I can't type my own name, so I could pretend I'm typing my team member's name and say, I couldn't upload this video because I don't have admin access to your YouTube. So they could say that, and then Dragon will now be alerted with a notification right here. These are the notifications that you have in your Trello. So you'll see that notification here. You can click on it, and then you can add a comment or see anything that is being done about this tab. So let me go back to your board here. So that's one of the things you can do with Trello that's really, really useful, is you could also view the edits. You could see the description. One other thing I love are checklists. So these are the things that you need to have done in order to complete this task. So you could say, upload the video, do the SEO, edit the description, create a thumbnail. Now you have a list of tasks that your employee or your colleague needs to do about a given task, and they could check these off one by one when they're complete. So now it's really easy to see, and you could see that here. This 2 out of 4 represents the number of tasks that are done out of the given amount of tasks assigned. So it's really, really convenient. You could also do things like add a due date. So if I want to say this task is due tomorrow or Monday at noon, I can do that. Now you can see here, November 27th, it's due at noon. I could also add an attachment from my computer or Dropbox, or I could paste a link here and something will show up as an attachment, which is really, really convenient because it'll pop up right here and someone could download that attachment or view that attachment. One of the other things I like to do is create a new label called urgent, and I like to mark that red. That's one thing I like to have. So if something is urgent, I can mark it as an urgent label, and my team kind of knows, they see it's red, and they could immediately navigate to it as your board gets busy. And another thing you could do easily, aside from clicking and dragging, is you can move this. So one thing that's cool is you can move this between boards. When you have multiple boards for different members on your team, you can move this task to a different board. then you can move it to a list and a position on that list as well if you want to move a card. You could also copy a card as well. So it's really, really easy to use. When you're done with a task, you can do one of two things. You can either create, you can do one of two things when you're done with a task. You can either move it to a board called done, which you can have tasks that are completed. If you want to review with your team at the end of the week, you can click and drag and have your team move it to the done tab so that on Fridays when you have follow-up conference calls with your team member, you can see what was completed. This could also serve as a way to have your team be accountable for the hours they spend working. You could see what was accomplished and then assign an average hourly time frame to that activity if you're paying them by the hour. It's sort of a way of having accountability aside from using something like Upwork. So this is a great way to have it done. Otherwise, you can just click this button and click archive and this task will go away. So one thing you could do that's interesting is if you have a long list, you can click this button here and you could copy the list or move all the cards in the list or archive all the cards in the list, or you can archive the entire list. So this is another way that you can easily navigate by having different things in the list that's really convenient as well. So now that you have your Trello board sort of set up, one other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a team. So a team is a way that you can have all the members of your team on a given board. So let's say that this is your master board. You want to have a master board. So company name, master board. You want to have a master board so that everyone on your team can see the general to-do list and the 3-month goals. And then every week on Mondays, I find it really convenient to assign these tasks to my team members, and then we work together in week-long blocks. So if this is your master board, you can create a team, and you could call this team company name, enter a description, and you could create a team. So then what you could do is you can edit your team profile, edit your logo, you could add different boards, and you could add members to your team. Now this is obvious, you can make people admins, you could do a lot of stuff here, but one thing that's really convenient is you can add a different board for team member to do. So this is now an individual board from one of your team members. So you could invite that team member here, or you could invite your whole team to this board. So one thing you might want to do that's pretty unique is if you go back here to your board and you have this and you want to copy this to every single team member, you can go to more, copy board, and you could call this team member B, share it with everyone on your team, and you want to make it shareable with your team. You can keep the cards in the board or delete them. So if you copy the board, it will copy all these headers, 3-month goals, tasks, 2-week list, to do today. If you copy the cards, it will copy the individual cards within those tasks. I want to copy both, so I click create. And now I could go see I have company name, and then I have team member B, and they both have the exact same board. I could change the background of this and make it blue. And now I could do that for every member on my team so that every team member has a unique board. This is really, really convenient. I could go in, I could do this again, copy board, call it team member C, and create board. Boom. So now look at what I've just done. Now I have the master board, which is my board, or the company board. And now each of my team members has an individual board, and I could invite other team members here. I could share all these boards together. So if someone has a task they need me to do, I could give them access to go to my board and move something there. So if I want to move this assignment to team member B's board or team member C board, I can do that. I can say this should be on his board to do today, position 1, it's urgent, boom. Now this task got moved from team member B's board to team member C's board. It's right there. So this is a great way to manage your tasks. for your company. So what I do every week is when I get up on like Sunday or Monday or whatever, I want to organize my team. I look at the master board here. This is the master board. And I look at all the tasks that are in the to-do list, and then I assign them. So I'll say this is something that needs to be due by someone. It needs to be done by team member B. It needs to be done this week. Or I don't have the to-do this week thing. I moved it, and it's really important, so I put it here. I edit the description. I say call this person. Call this person more details. I create a to-do list. And then I say send me the mockups, CC me on an email, etc. I write a comment here if I want to tag them, or I could just tag them here. And boom. Now suddenly everything is done. A task is assigned. It took me 15 seconds. And then I can move that task wherever I want. So I could say, okay, I just did that. I assigned this to team member B. It's on his to-do today list in position 1. Boom. A task is assigned. I didn't have to send an email, and it's super, super easy. I could get in the habit of checking my notifications here to follow up with people on my team to see about certain tasks. So this is how you use Trello. I highly, highly recommend you get on Trello, and also check out my other video about how to use Slack, because if you combine these two services, you could pretty much eliminate email altogether. I literally in the last week, I think I've sent 0 emails to my team just because I've used Trello and Slack efficiently, and it's really revolutionized the way I've communicated and been more efficient in my business. I hope you like it. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment with your thoughts below. If you have questions on how to use Trello, I'd love to help make your business more efficient if I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate your time. Cheers.